Welcome to another edition of In My Cousin's Basement. I am your co-host, The Boogeyman. Here with me always is my hetero family mate, Rando.
Hey, what's up?
Oh, it's Randu, my bad.
It's actually Randy, not Rando, but
Rando,
inside joke.
Randy, Rando Calrissian, whatever.
Yeah, it's yeah, Rando. It's funny even with today. If I use that, I have an Xbox Live name, and it says Randu22 was actually made up by some of my friends, but people still think it's Rando.
I gave you that name.
Or you gave me that.
Yeah, I gave that name when you first, because it was Christmas one year, and you got your Xbox for Christmas one year, and we were just throwing things around because all the Randy names were taken.
Yeah, it's funny. I did. Oh yeah, that's right. When I got my first Xbox, or whatever.
Because you couldn't get on because everybody and their mother was doing it because it was Christmas Day.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
everybody was getting on that day.
It's funny. I still have that Xbox. It's still wrapped up.
Jesus.
I don't use it anymore because honestly,
You don't play that.
Huh?
You don't play that no more.
No, but it was actually a cool Xbox. Xbox 360 was a cool thing.
I still got one too.
You still play it?
It's in the box right now. Last time I played it, I had something was wrong with the drivers because I was trying to play backwards compatible, and it just miffed on me.
Broke it?
No, it not broke. It's just not working well. We'll just say that. I'll look for another one. Who knows?
Yeah. Well, nowadays, trying to find anything, it's weird. Everything nostalgia with video games, of course, around our area of stuff. If you go look for like a 64, a Super Nintendo, anything, dude, they're so expensive.
Yep.
Like at Babbage's or V Stock or any of those places, you can find probably some decent ones on eBay that probably need to be fixed.
But still, though, you got to fix them.
You got to fix them, or you got to find someone who knows how to fix them,
Exactly.
right? And find how to replace capacitors and parts and stuff on it. But I was just looking at, because I still have my 64, and I was like, oh, I might get some games for it. And some of the games are more expensive than when they originally came out. So GoldenEye or whatever.
Oh, GoldenEye was golden, man. You had to have GoldenEye.
Yeah, you had GoldenEye or like Super Smash is a important one or whatever. Or like Zelda or Ocarina of Time or like Donkey Kong. I'm just spitballing games here, but they're all expensive. They're $40, $50. I think when they originally came out back then, I don't think they were $40, $50.
I think they were like 20.
20, 30
15,
bucks and around there. Now all games are $60. Every game. It doesn't matter if it's PS5.
GameStop stock went up because of the pandemic, so
It went up because the people on Reddit combined together to try to keep people from closing GameStop down. So ruined the hedge funds. But anyway, got some pretty cool topics to talk about today on the podcast. This is going to be more movie focused. I think our last one was kind of more movie focused as well, but we might lead down some other rabbit holes of other stuff. But I think the first topic we're going to bring up is movies with shitty sequels. Now, I know everybody who are movie buffs or fans can probably name
thousands and thousands.
Yeah, I mean, there's probably a good 100 or more off the top of your head in your lifetime that you're probably like, who thought this was a good idea to remake this as a sequel? But, like anything in Hollywood, if it's got a name attached to it and nostalgia attached to it, they see dollar signs and hope that people know that, hey, there's something here. There's something that we remember here that they probably are like, well, if the first one was good, the second one's got to be good, right?
Right.
And in most cases,
not so much.
Not so much, especially nowadays in movies. They just make a movie and just to make a movie so they can get some money.
Exactly. It's Hollywood for you.
Yeah, it's weird. So I'll just go ahead and I'll start naming some, and then we can discuss whatever ones you think are good or not bad or whatever. But we'll just go with the first one I'll pick is Caddyshack 2. Okay. Now, obviously, this was made like a couple years after the original Caddyshack. The only original member in the movie was Chevy Chase.
Yep.
I actually read something interesting about it after I watched the movie was majority of the cast and like people that were in the original Caddyshack just like got up and quit during the recording of the movie.
Wow.
Because they were just so disappointed with like the storyline and like what they were doing, and like you're gonna botch this movie on top of that and ruin the first one for everybody because the first one was such a classic. It was such a good movie. And then after I reading all that, at the end Chevy Chase said he regretted staying in and doing the movie, but at the time he was the main star of the movie, so everyone's like, okay, well, no Caddyshack 2, no whatever. He must have got paid good or something.
He had to have. I mean, that's come on, dude.
So he regrets it later in life, which I don't think I've heard many actors talk about that, but I'm sure every actor has a movie they regret.
Oh yeah, there's because a lot of them are in like B horror movies they never even thought they would be in, and it's like, oh.
Yeah, low budget film or some indie film or something.
Right.
They're trying to do to take their career off or whatever. And at that time, that was like a movie. Well, I think
they did it for the money. That's all it was.
Yeah, for the money. And Chevy Chase was already pretty iconic by that
time. Oh yeah, he was.
So
I'm saying he was already big in the '80s anyway.
SNL and everything. Yeah. So he didn't really
the vacation movies. Come on.
Yeah, I mean he really didn't need this movie, but I think yeah. So anyway, it was who's the other guy?
Jackie Mason was the lead guy.
Jackie Mason.
John Silverman was his caddy. Who was that?
They pulled Randy Quaid.
Robert Stack.
Robert Stack.
He was the guy, the main guy.
Yeah.
Dan Aykroyd was in it.
And Randy Quaid was in it.
Yeah, Randy Quaid was in it.
Yeah. And that was before Randy Quaid had a downfall.
Way before his downfall.
Crazy, but I think they just put him in there because he was like a comedic relief and funny guy.
Yeah.
You know.
He tried to be like Rodney Dangerfield funny, but he wasn't. Because he used his quote unquote comedy act, the way he acts, is over the top, and that's probably what they wanted.
Yeah, trying to replace Rodney Dangerfield with Randy Quaid. It's not going to happen. No. Sorry, that's two people different in two different universes. You got somebody who's ultimate funny guy back in the day, and you got somebody he's kind of funny. He's like he still tried to play like the funny uncle role from National Lampoon.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
That's the only feel I get him. That's the problem with him. I think he's kind of fouled into every movie. Is people only put him in that category.
They typecasted him to Uncle Eddie.
Uncle Eddie, and that's all you think about it is a shitter.
That's what I do. Huh? Like people talk about Independence Day or whatever. I'm like, I remember when he was back in those days of vacation movies, and they're like, what? Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but he played that role good in that movie.
Yeah.
It
was. I think that was more of a serious quote unquote role
for him.
Yeah, for him exactly.
You could probably say that with him. That's probably true.
But then you got Jonathan Silverman. He wasn't very big. He was part of. Later on in life, he got like Weekend at Berenice and stuff like that. So he was really kind of mediocre. Jackie Mason is just a funny Jewish actor, but not in that role.
Isn't that what's his name's dad? Ben Stiller's dad?
I don't. No, that's not. No.
Oh, I'm thinking the wrong guy.
You're thinking Jerry Stiller.
Jerry Stiller. I'm sorry.
No.
They kind of look similar.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah, was he the country club owner that always wore that purple or whatever in the movie? I can't remember. Jackie Mason, he's small, right?
He was the small guy that was trying to buy the.
Oh, he's trying to buy
it and turn it into a.
That's right.
Amusement park.
That's right.
He was okay, but it wasn't for me. And who was the other guy? Oh, Dan Aykroyd trying to be Bill Murray.
Yeah, Dan.
That kind of disappointed me. I'm like, what's with the high pitch? Oh, Mr. Sanderson. Why? I don't get it.
Overall, if you go back and watch the movie, it's kind of comical. Like some of the stuff they did in the movie, it's kind of funny, right?
It's kind of.
But the storyline's botched, and they try to redo the same storyline again with the movie that you shouldn't have went. They should have did something completely different for Caddyshack 2.
Right. And especially like seeing in the 80s growing up, you see Robert Stack's the bad guy in the movie, which I remember him in Unsolved Mysteries, but that's why I took him as a serious actor. But then I see him in Basketball or the old Airplane movies. I'm like, nah, he's not serious. He can't play a bad guy.
Right.
He seems like he could try, but it didn't work too well.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, you look in this, they try to replace a lot of the people in this movie with A-list actors, right?
Yeah, they tried.
Because people are like, oh, Caddyshack 2, this is going to be good for my career probably, and they probably had a lot of money behind it, and they're probably like, we're going to make a lot of money. And I think what actually happened is that the movie bombed. Yeah. I think that's what ended up happening, and they're like, yeah, great job here, guys.
Yeah. Nothing replaces the original one. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. You can't replace that one.
No, it's just one of those untouchable movies. And if that's something they think about actually remaking or rebooting, whatever you want to call that movie,
leave it alone.
That's one movie I don't think they'll be able to touch that movie. Probably
leave it alone.
Yeah,
that is definitely one reboot I do not even want to think about happening.
A golf movie, like if again, I'm all about not original content, but I'm not saying I'm original content. I meant I'm not for reboots or remakes unless it's something that needs to be rebooted or remake. Like the movie just completely bombed. They're going to try it again.
Right.
But there is untouchable movies in Hollywood. I think the whole rebooting era right now, because I think we've talked about before with nostalgia and just rebooting, it just became a cash cow from because they run on original ideas. So
it's like they have a little part of a movie like, oh, I'm gonna write a movie about golf, and then like Hollywood pumps in, okay, golf, we're gonna do another Caddyshack.
Yeah,
but all I said was golf.
Yeah, to me, they need original ideas. That's all I was
Yes.
gonna say. Like, start doing some original ideas, new content, new characters, new storylines, new plots. That's what people want. Even if the movie bombs, people probably appreciate the movie more, and it'll hold more with you'll find still fans that like it more than trying to reboot something and ruining it for the people who actually enjoyed the content from the first time. That's just me, man.
Yeah.
I feel like they've done a bad job with a lot of movies. We could have a whole podcast just about that, probably do.
Oh yeah. Think about this too, though. If they're going to do a reboot, let the movie be out for a while first.
Yeah.
Because there's what was that? Blair Witch.
Mm-hmm.
That came out in 1998, 99-ish era.
Mm-hmm.
There was already a reboot for it in 2016 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's barely 20 years in between the movie when it came out and stuff. Superman's almost the same way. That
Mm-hmm.
came out late 80s or early 80s and late 80s. Then in 2000s, bam, they did Man of Steel.
Well, I think that's a good talk. We'll bring it up too. There's in their movie with some shitty sequels. Is you could say the Blair Witch 2 and the Book of Secrets, right? And you probably know more about the movie than I do because I'll be honest with you, I watched it
I own it
once and I've never watched it again.
I've watched it once just to see it because there's the main guy is in there. He's the guy from Burn Notice with Bruce Campbell. And then I watched it again later on. I'm just like, why did I buy this?
Well,
I don't know why.
Well, the weird thing about it is it's not. I don't even feel like it's really a sequel to the original one.
No, it's not.
Like they go to the same woods, right? If I remember.
That's about it. Everything else is totally, different.
Yeah, and here's the biggest thing I remember about it. They call the Book of Secrets
Shadows.
or Shadows.
Book of Shadows.
I'm sorry, Book of Shadows. There's no Book of Shadows in the entire movie about anything.
Yeah.
What?
There's shadows, maybe, if that, but it's
Again, Book of Shadows. I thought
Yeah.
they were gonna find a book and it was gonna lead to something like, hey, we're gonna figure out what the Blair Witch is and where it came from and more arc or lore of the movie. So it's cool.
But no.
I always put something in the title that doesn't make any sense. So again,
do that?
another low budget film. I mean, of course, Blair Witch 2 did a lot of good for the horror scene. Not Blair Witch. I'm sorry, Blair Witch.
Okay.
The original one. Sorry.
Thank you.
Let me correct myself there.
Thanks for clarifying.
It did open that whole genre on Paranormal Activity and some other good movies or whatever that you can make a low budget scare jump type film and you don't need to spend millions of dollars to
low budget and found footage.
Yes, found footage. And when the movie came out, in the original one, the 98 one, dude, it was a cool movie. It's just this one, whoever decided to make it, because there was a lot of people that were like, yeah, Blair Witch, this is a great movie. I really liked it. To do it too, you'd have to have it something either do a prequel to it, what led up to this, or a sequel that actually led off from those people dying where they found them dead in those houses. Yeah?
Yeah.
So what direction were they going in? And actually, all these actors in this movie, besides the one you name, I think are all no-name actors too.
Yeah. I can't think of anybody else that was in that besides, like I said, I can't think of his name. Jeffrey something played, like I said, Burn Notice, but nobody else is recognizable.
I don't think anybody actually really cares because no one likes this movie.
Well, if you were saying, we were continuing off the topic in a way, sequels that have nothing to do with the original one at all. You mentioned Halloween 3. I mean, I myself, I'm a huge Halloween fan, so I'm very biased with it. But you're part of the group that are part of the people that don't like Halloween 3.
I mean, yeah. To me, Halloween 3 was a standalone movie.
It was very standalone.
It had nothing to do with the first two movies, so there was no sequel combined at all. The original plot was they were going to make these every Halloween, these one-off storylines or whatever.
Different sequels, different parts of different Halloween years, and
so which was actually a really cool idea. I was like, every year someone could look up right on Halloween, there's something cool that comes out on Halloween, even if it's a movie or a TV series. I could get probably back behind that, especially if it's one a year. They have a whole year to make production for something like that. So cool. To me, that was a cool idea. But then they call it Halloween 3 and say it has something to do with Michael Myers or something. I don't know why I guess they were just trying to get fans, the fandom, to leech on it because it was like, hey, this is going to be tied to Michael Myers.
To me, I think it was because Michael Myers actually kind of was in it. They were watching it on one of the movie channels during the movie.
Yeah, I remember.
And Jamie Lee Curtis, she did a little cameo in there. And other people from the Halloween franchise back then. But the problem was they were going to do that movie, then they were going to do a Wolfman movie, and then there's something else they were all going to do every single year. But it's just the fans back then didn't want that; they wanted Michael back, which is fine. But call it don't call it Halloween 3 like you say. Call it Season of the Witch. Call Halloween 4 or Halloween 3, and then mess with the timeline that way. But they didn't do that.
Yeah, I see. That's my only qualm with the movie. the movie itself, it's not a terrible movie by any means. Like, it has some pretty cool parts and some stuff that's in there. But for me, it's not a Halloween movie, so don't call it Halloween 3. That's just
call it Season of the Witch, nothing else.
Season of the Witch, whatever. I think people still to this day, like, I've noticed I'm in a couple fan groups of Halloween. There's a big fan base for it. There's people that really like it, but the same thing is a lot of people are like, this doesn't belong in the category. Like, this, why can't we? Which too bad we can't rename the title. I mean, it's already set in stone. That's what it was called.
Exactly.
It's a lot of people in the fandom just don't like it. I'm one of those people. Like, I don't like it's called Halloween 3. I like the movie. Mm-hmm. It's not my favorite movie by any means, that Halloween movie, but it's not terrible for what they had. The idea was actually a really cool original idea, what they're doing with the mask and everything in it. So,
and it's really cool too. I think because a lot of, like I said, a lot of the people who were involved in that movie were involved in the first two Halloween movies. Mm-hmm. Like the guy who played Michael Myers was the director. Mm-hmm. Like I said, Jamie Lee Curtis was in it, and a couple other people, Linda, that was in there, and stuff like that. They should leave it. That's how I think they can just let it go and say it's a Halloween movie, because John Carpenter was involved with it, Deborah Hill was involved with it. They can leave it at that, but like I said, you said, there's other people that are very loyal saying, no, it shouldn't be in this franchise at all.
Yeah, I mean,
there's movies that are like that all the time. Like Hellraiser, I'll tell you, I'm up to Hellraiser 8 or 9 right now, and I'm so disappointed in it, because Hellraiser 1 and 2 were all about Pinhead and people bringing someone into that Pinhead took, so their soul goes free back on Earth. And then after a while, they start so totally straying against that. You barely even saw Pinhead. After 7 or 8, I think Doug Bradley's not even Pinhead anymore, and you're just like, what is this? And the Cenobites in it are horrible.
Well, I mean, to that point with Hellraiser, and I haven't watched them all. I'll tell you, I've watched a lot of the original ones. I probably ain't missing anything, to be honest with you. It's really like shitty sequels. But, I mean, just to touch on that same topic, it's like, to me, that's the same thing with the Fast and Furious franchise, right? So, like, the first movie had to do about stealing cars and, like, racing them and stuff like that. And family. Everything's about family in that movie. But to the point I'm making is, the movie went from actually cars being about racing and, like, street racing and, like, where people were, like, it was a really big thing, to them becoming, like, Michael Bay's Transformers and blowing shit up and doing unrealistic things in cars that could never happen. And it's like, and they're like the baddest car gang in the world that helps, like, rescue the world, which makes zero sense to me. But apparently there's a huge fandom for it still. So, like, they're going to keep making them, right?
Yeah.
And I
were they on 10 now or something like that? 9, 10?
I think they're on 9 or 10. Yeah. And to each their own. I don't care. But they lost me after, I think, Tokyo Drift came out, and I was like, oh, this actually might be pretty cool, because I think it was the second movie after the first one, right? So as a sequel, you're like, this is pretty cool. It went a different direction. But the movie, to me, was a failure. They put, they got one good actor in there, maybe two. Little Bow Wow is not a good actor, so I didn't even really want to mention his name, but yeah, he was terrible in the movie. And I know you haven't seen it, so it doesn't really matter, but I'm just using it as a point with the Pinhead stuff. It's like sometimes these movies, it's like they lose the original idea of what the movie's about, so let's make up something else, and they're just spitting them out to make money. Again, same thing Hollywood likes to do. They got a fandom, let's keep making them, and people are like, what is going on here? But you can't stop watching them, because you're like, I want to see what the fuck is going on. Like, let's see what's going to happen with this, and maybe I'll put it on as a popcorn flick so I could laugh because of how terrible it is, right?
Yeah. Well, going along with that, in a way, if you think about, like, the cash cows, they keep making sequels, but then after a while they throw in bigger names to see it to entice people more. Like with the Fast and Furious movies, who did they add? They had The Rock.
Right, they had The Rock.
And Jason Statham.
Come
on, dude.
They made it into a tentpole franchise, right?
Exactly.
Every year they're expecting the movie to come out, kind of like the MCU or something else, and they do have a lot of good A-list actors in the movie. To me, I don't have a problem with The Rock or anything, or Jason Statham. I love both of them, whatever.
Let the franchise die.
Yeah, just let it die off. Like, don't ruin the
die off with Paul Walker.
Yeah, exactly.
That's my opinion only. Anybody else wants to come at me? Come at me, bro.
I don't hate Paul Walker or anything like that by any means. I think he's a good actor. I mean, of course, every woman likes to stare at him because he got a face or whatever. But at the end of the day, the original movie with him in it and everybody, and Vin Diesel, was great. And I think the problem with what they did with The Rock is they put The Rock in the movie, and he was like one to take over as, like, the big guy in the movie, and you've always had Vin Diesel as the big guy. So it's like, you're putting these guys in there. I think they bumped heads at one point, and people were like, we don't want to work with The Rock anymore because of what he's coming in and
he's overshined everybody. He's cast this big ass shadow that people are trying to follow now. Like, I want to be him now, but they can't be because he's only one that person.
Yeah,
it's like Schwarzenegger back in the day.
Yeah,
you can't put anybody in a Schwarzenegger movie that you're going to remember.
Yeah,
like Total Recall. Who do you remember in Total Recall?
Arnold.
Okay. What about Commando? Do you remember anybody?
Just Arnold, man.
Predator.
Well, I remember what's his name from Rocky.
See, you don't even know his name.
I can't remember his name right there.
You got Carl Weathers. You had
what's
his face? Jesse Ventura.
Jesse Ventura, the body. In there.
Shane Black is in there. But you had to think about it. But the other movies, I just told you. Who'd you think of? Only Arnold.
Because those movies are 100% focused on Arnold. All of his movies are always focused on him, like He-Man or whatever.
Yeah, that's what The Rock happens to The Rock now.
It wasn't He-Man. I'm sorry. What did he play? Hercules.
No, he wasn't Hercules. Conan.
Sorry, man.
Dolph Lundgren was He-Man.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So anyway, so like movies like that, he was
the guy.
Yeah, he was the guy. And when you think of action, he was the guy. It's like
same thing with The Rock now.
Yeah, same thing with The Rock now, but he ain't. To me, that's a different genre.
Yeah, it's a different genre. Yeah. But I'm just saying, if you name a Rock movie, that's the only person you're going to remember.
There's different action films. Like to me, right now, the best action person in the world is
Steven Seagal.
Yeah, Steven Seagal. Exactly. No, Keanu Reeves.
Keanu Reeves was good.
With John Wick, and that's a new era of action movies and gun flicks.
Now, is it just Keanu Reeves that you're going after, or is it just the John Wick kind of movies, like the movie Nobody with Bob Odenkirk? I don't know if you've seen that or not yet.
It's okay. So, like to me, the action flicks are. I don't know if there's subcategories or not, but to me, he makes the best movies that are gun flicks for shooting and like doing stuff like suspense, like someone that's a trained marksman that's amazing and killing people. I guess he's kind of like a hitman, in a way you want to put it. But then you got movies like come out with The Rock that he's supposed to be, I don't even know what to put like a category that he's in for like action because he does so many different flicks. He's not really a gun guy in his movies. He's always hand combat. So to me, that's a different genre of like action movies. And then you got people that made like the Expendables, when there's blowing shit up the entire time. That's another action movie, but kind of I guess in the sub with John Wick, just different. It's like a group of people. So we went down this rabbit hole of action stuff, but to me, the reason I don't really care for The Rock, I mean, I like him as a person. I think he's cool. I think they've overblown him in Hollywood. They've put him in way too much stuff. So it's like, again, when you're getting paid, you're going to do anything. If they told you to go shit on the toilet,
he'll shit on the toilet.
Go shit on the toilet.
And he'll overdo it.
He'll overdo it, right?
He'll make sure he throws in some Samoan in there.
Yeah. So the thing I'm getting to is he's not a bad actor or nothing. I think he was good. I like him as a person again.
He's hilarious,
I think it's him and at one point him and Kevin Hart were just thrown in.
Yeah, everything together.
Not just everything together. They were both thrown in. It's like we need a funny black comedian guy that can go in there. Kevin Hart, boom, from stand-up comedy to now I can act and do all this stuff. To me, he's an okay actor, but he's not my favorite stand-up comedian. It's not my type of comedy, but people seem to like him, but they've overdid him too, in my opinion.
Yeah,
I think.
I agree.
And I know those two are good friends, so it's like. Would make sense they go into movies together, but
but if you going along with that, if you think about it, they kind of did that with like David Spade and Chris Farley. They had 3 or 4 movies together, but then you also had Adam Sandler and all his friends.
Yeah, but when you're talking about Chris Farley and David Spade, you're talking about the best dynamic duo.
Oh yeah, of course.
Together. We're not talking about comedy. We're talking about like doing stuff. Yeah. The Rock and Kevin Hart aren't even close. They're not in the same ballpark, right? When you're talking about those people, but same concept, right? Yeah. They trying to get that look and feel for it. So I 100% understand, but it's just weird that even with action films nowadays, that it's not really truly action.
Yeah,
I guess that's my point of getting to that point. It's like
it's a comedy with bombs.
Yeah, and not every movie needs comedy in it, right? I think action flicks need to say more action and do stuff. I'm not saying you can't have comic relief in there, but
really, don't overdo it.
Don't overdo it, but really, I don't even think they need to be in there. To be honest with you,
what's your opinion on horror movies with comedy in them? Because you can think about it, they've been doing that for years. Mm-hmm. Because I forgot what director or somebody one time said that they added the comedy element in there so that way the scarier parts seem scarier. It leaves enough room for the other side of both ends of the spectrum. Mm-hmm. Because I would prefer a movie that you're scared shitless throughout the entire thing.
Me too.
But other people want to have a little comedy to let it up a little bit. But that's
so to me, that's the perfect time you introduce dark comedy.
Yes.
Right. So like there's different genres and subgenres of comedy, especially in movies and doing stuff, that's when you have someone come in that is a good writer that knows dark comedy.
Yeah.
I think that's when the time you throw that in because it would shine really good. I wouldn't be putting the Avengers comedy into a horror flick unless it's supposed to be a funny like what's the ideal flick you make? They made like a scary movie one where they made they made fun of scary movie. What was it called?
Scary movie, wasn't it?
No, was that what it's called? Scary movie?
Yeah, Scary Movie 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, or whatever.
Where they make fun. Oh, yeah, that's right. I'm sorry.
Yeah, spoof movies.
Yeah, spoof movies. Okay, that's perfect. Like trying to be like funny but scary or whatever, but it's not really scary. It's supposed to be comedy, funny.
Right.
Maybe that's the time you can do that kind of stuff. But I don't think you throw comedy in with horror. I just don't think you do. Dark comedy, sure, you can make like a funny like death joke or something. Like like in Halloween, like the boogeyman's gonna get you, and the kids are like making those weird jokes or whatever and stuff. Maybe like those kind of puns and stuff in there. But to me, no.
Yeah.
That's just me, though. I mean, maybe other people, like you were saying, there's someone that needs to lighten up to like make it feel like more relaxing. They throw like a little comedy in there to get people like off the edge of their seats. It probably does hold some true with some fans, that do that kind of stuff. But I can't name a movie off the top of my head that does it. Can you?
Some of the old 80s movies, like Motel Hell, did it because there's a lot of comedy in that. Just a little bit too much, even though it was about cannibalism. That's on top of my head, so I think of it right now. But what about those horror movies? Well, I can't really. Well, some of them are horror, some of them are something else. Of like they throw in. It's not a comedy thing. Let me think here. Have you ever seen The Green Inferno?
No.
Okay. Well, it's basically these tourists go to a Amazonic kind of country, whatever. Their plane crashes and they get captured by cannibals and they try to survive. Well, while they're stuck in the cage to be eaten, spoilers. Somebody's sitting there saying they have a stomachache, they got to go, they have to run. They wouldn't let them out, so she just pulls her pants down and starts shitting all over the place. People find that funny. Now, does that need to be involved with horror movies?
No.
Because there's another one, I think it was Heredity or something. Somebody takes a shit in a diaper and then they throw it in a kid's face. It's like, do you need to have that kind of toilet humor in horror movies too, or no?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
But I mean, so I could say if it's like a movie with like a family or something, they're doing something, they're going on a trip or doing something weird or whatever. I'm just making shit up right now. And they're just like trying to portray like a regular normal family, like hey, changing a diaper and he threw something like they threw shit on him or something like that to be funny. Yeah. Maybe because they could relate to it and say like, hey, it's normal like family life, like kids do that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah,
right. So like that makes sense, but like trying to force it, that's what I would have a problem with it, right? Yeah. Like that kind of stuff, you'd be like, oh, that's funny, huh? A kid threw a shit in his face, and that's happened to me, or a kid pooped on my hand when I was changing his diaper. Yeah. Sure,
gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? But to me,
leave the toilet humor out.
Correct. I think not in horror. I think, but it depends on the movie and it depends on the type of genre movie too. I think so.
Okay.
That's just my opinion on it.
What other sequel you got for us?
Well, to add to the Halloween 3, since I think that's kind of where we left off, we kind of went down the Fast and the Furious and stuff, which is fine. Speak off that, Home Alone 3 came to my head when we were talking about Halloween 3 because it's another standalone movie they made after the originals with Macaulay Culkin. I forget the actors they threw in these movies. I know who they are, but I can't think of their names at the moment. It was kind of like more of a remake movie and a reboot more than a sequel because you have the same premise. The mom and dad leave the kid at home. There's burglars going around robbing the neighborhoods. He sets his house up, as a fortress, and they come in and he,
defends his house.
Yeah, defends his house and screws with them, and the police come and arrest him. Spoiler, if you haven't seen Home Alone, then I'm sorry.
It's going to happen.
Yeah, it's Home Alone 3. You're not missing anything. You're
right.
missing Macaulay Culkin's cousin that's starting over and doing this. So that's a shitty movie, in my opinion. Like, who decided making their Home Alone? If you can't redo Home Alone without Macaulay Culkin. And if you're going to do it,
that was such a big movie. Why ruin it?
Yeah.
With a sequel like that?
I don't know. After like Lost in New York or whatever happened, and it's like, where do you go from that? I think after those two movies, that's why they stopped. Like he's already done it twice. He got left at home, they got left in a random place, and he got flown a plane. Pretty good storylines.
Good storyline, but if you think about it, it's just bad parenting.
Yeah.
That's all it's about.
Yeah, it's about bad parenting. At the same time, it's like, by the time they do a third one, he's gonna be old enough that he can be living on his own or doing, doing something on his own.
If he's going to the grocery store at 8, whatever the first one, he's gonna go when he's 16. In the third or fourth one. Yeah. He's gonna be buying beer and shit.
Home Alone, kicked out of the house.
Yeah, exactly. He's living in the treehouse.
Homeless, kicked out of the house. Not
there you go.
Home Alone anymore.
We should write that one.
Yeah, Macaulay Culkin.
Lost in New York, homeless.
Yeah, lost in New York.
Oh shit, I'm homeless
during pandemic.
Exactly.
Funny tidbit about that is, Macaulay Culkin, I listened to him on the Joe Rogan podcast, and it was actually really good listening to him because, I'm obviously a kid that, grew up with Child Star, and he said he doesn't act anymore because of obviously what his parents put him through with all that kind of trauma and stuff. If you don't know anything, go and listen to his podcast, and he's got a lot of good stuff on there. But the coolest thing I took away from it was he doesn't act anymore. He does have a podcast he does. Because he makes so much money off of Home Alone and the remakes that run all year long. Yeah. And I guess his financial advisor and people that help him, he still makes millions of dollars a year off those movies. He doesn't have to work the rest of his life because of those movies he made as a kid. So he's pretty much set the rest of his life. So people are like, yeah, he does. He's acting all weird and does all this stuff. It's like, dude, he just lives a life.
He doesn't have to. Yeah.
He just lives a normal life. He doesn't want to be bothered. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think they thought it was really intelligent listening to him. Yeah. Does he look like a weird dude? Sure.
Yeah, sure. But who doesn't?
Yeah, exactly. Most people that have money and do stuff, they're more eccentric or what I call it, the word is. But thought that was a cool little thing about him.
The only thing I've heard him anything recently that he's acting in actually was he's doing the 10th season of American Horror Story.
Oh, that's cool.
He's supposed to be some kind of cracked out kid or guy, not a kid anymore. And the only reason why Ryan Murphy and Falchuk, or whatever his name is, Brian, threw him in there. How they got him to accept the role is, they said, if you want this role, you have to do this one specific part. And he was already on. He was like, sure, why not? I need the money, or I want to do it. He has to have sex with Kathy Bates in the new episode.
So I'm sure he was like, yeah, this sounds
cool.
Yeah,
he was all in it. He was all for it.
Yeah, I mean, cool. Like, he probably I think he did say he took such a long break from acting. Like, he said he would do cameos and, like, get in certain movies and do certain things, but it had to be roles that he was interested in and things he just didn't want to be.
He didn't have to unless he wanted to.
And you got to remember, people that have these childhood movie like lives, they don't have normal childhoods. They miss out on most normal stuff.
A lot of them don't even finish school.
Yeah. I mean, they actually talked about it on the podcast, too. He's like, how was it hanging out with Michael Jackson? Because the portrayal was he was, a child molester and all this stuff. And he's like, he said Michael was one of the coolest people he's ever hung out with. Nothing ever happened to him. Maybe he's one of the lucky ones. Maybe I don't know.
He was too drugged up. He doesn't remember.
That could be happening, too. A lot of Dramamine and some
chloroform. Maybe he liked it.
Maybe he liked it.
Who knows?
But reality is, I thought that was cool and talk about that and stuff. And then he's not always, I think everybody likes to put out there. I'm like, yeah, I hung out with Michael, and he's really weird. And he's like, no, he was actually a cool dude. He was normal until, probably is before he took all those drugs and got all fucking weird. So,
Hollywood do that to you, like you said. They don't have normal lives, so they turn to drugs.
Yeah, and then when they get older, they still act like children because they've never experienced
acted.
Well, yeah, they never had normal childhood, so they never got to act like children. Right. So I could see that why people are so fucked up is child actors.
Come on now.
There's only been like a couple. I think like Drew Barrymore might be the only one that's made it from a child actor to like a adult actor or actress. And but she's fucking weird too. Like she's really out there.
She was an alcoholic before she was like 15.
Was she really?
Yeah, she was all into drugs and alcohol. I think she finally got sober when she met Tom Green.
That's probably why she's a little bit out there.
So, yeah, definitely. So. Well, think about the movies she did. She did Stephen King movies, through and E.T. When she first started out acting. That's gonna mess with you right there because you're in horror movies before you can even buy yourself cigarettes or even drive a car yet. You're in all these horror movies.
Yeah,
like the little kid from Pet Sematary.
Yeah.
I want to talk. I would love to talk to his name is Miko Hughes. I want to talk to him one day and just go. How did you feel after you killed the old guy Judd from the Munsters? Mm-hmm. How did it feel to act that you were killing somebody, and then grow up to be normal? I know he's a director. He's a big time director now.
I'm sure it was either he knew what he was doing and it was like probably really cool for him, like to know who like these big name actors and stuff. And he probably learned a bunch of stuff, or it probably like warped his brain and probably made him a good director about stuff. I mean, who knows?
Kill that guy. Give you some ice cream.
Yeah. What's another movie? Another good shitty sequel was I had down.
Good shitty sequel?
No, a shitty sequel. Teen Wolf 2.
Jason Bateman.
Yeah, so Jason Bateman.
Who's Chubbs?
What?
Chubbs, the fat guy. He was in it. He was in the first one too.
Oh yeah, that's right. He's in the first one too.
And the dad.
Yeah, and the dad. So like the weirdest thing about this movie is you go from Michael J. Fox, which sucks that they couldn't get him for the second one, but it's kind of hard to redo the same story twice unless he went to college.
Yeah.
If like people are like, if you would have went to college and you had Michael J. Fox, probably would have worked out, like doing something like that, like new scenery, new stuff,
right.
New people, no one knows who he is. But bringing his cousin that kept the family gene, and he goes like the same high school and people, and he's like a boxer or something, and it's like, what? Like it's so weird. It's like, okay, first of all, if the dude had that kind of power and was a boxer, he would knock people out and probably kill them. Like, in reality. So that was like unrealistic. And two, you've already seen the first one, so yeah, they kept the same premise, what they're going on. But like Jason Bateman couldn't say movie. It's Jason Bateman, who was really young. I think it was one of like his first big movies he was doing.
Yeah.
Not Jason Bateman's fault. The movie is just a flop. You know what I'm saying?
They took the same movie and just carbon copied it. Instead of basketball, they played football. They boxed. Mm-hmm. That's pretty much the same exact thing. Which I don't like 80s movies that do that all the damn time. It's just like, dude, you can't continue the story.
I think it was more of like a trial and error thing back then. They didn't know. They just thought, like, hey, if we succeed the first time, let's try it a second time type thing. And they realized real quick, like, hey, we can't just throw in actors and do the same movie over again. It doesn't work. Which is weird that 30 years later, we're still having these conversations that they're doing the same fucking thing and think it's going to work, but doing it at a different era and time because they're doing off nostalgia now because, like, hey, we're going to, like for example, like kid shows, like, hey, the Power Rangers show's coming back out or Legends of the Hidden Temple, right?
Yeah.
I thought that's actually cool that they're coming out with that Nickelodeon. They're trying out like actors around our age, or I'm sorry, I guess people to try out to act in the show our age because they grew up with it. So very, very cool idea because there's a lot of people that get excited for it, but do I think it's going to be as successful as it was as our kids? No, because Nickelodeon is a totally different show, totally different type of cartoons and shows. Like I know they're bringing they probably like Are You Afraid of the Dark and things like that, which is cool. There is a lot of nostalgia to it. I'm not going to disagree. Like when I heard that, it's like that's fucking cool. I want to see it, but is it going to be as good and probably hold as much like value or stuff as it did as a kid? Probably not. And the other problem is, I hate to say this, and I hate talking about this kind of stuff, but Nickelodeon's got like a little too woke for me to even watch some of the shows and cartoons now. It's like, I remember watching like Doug and like Our Real Monsters or Rocko's Modern Life, and realizing some of the stuff they did in there was toilet humor, but like adult humor as well. If
I know me being 10 years older than you, so I have a little insight with this. Nickelodeon was pretty much an adult station, if you will, whatever, because they had show like Don't Just Sit There. It was a show basically kind of like a Saturday Night Live where they had their own skits like that, but they also had special guests. They even had Robert Englund on there. He brought his Freddy glove, and that's how the kids knew him. Then they also had shows like You Can't Do That on Television. The ones that you say I don't know, you get slimed on you and shit like that. Those and other shows were aimed at adults. So Nickelodeon was kind of already adult. It went kid, and then now it's going back to an adult.
It's weird. So Nickelodeon started out, and I'm just asking you because I don't know. It started out as more of an adult show to get adult, I guess, like more of an audience, and then kids got addicted to it, and they said, let's flip-flop it to the kids, and it's been kids ever since.
Yeah. It's kind of like MTV. They started out with music, then they started bringing out with shows, and now they're trying to go back to music, which they're failing miserably, but,
Well, the problem is they should have just always incorporated music and did the shows like they did.
Because MTV. That's what the M stands for.
But you remember like in 90s, 2000s when it was like I was in high school and like, you're into your high school days and stuff like that. It's like MTV was still music and shows. And then right around let's say the bubble of live TV and real, whatever you want to call it, reality TV.
Damn you, Jersey Shore.
Yeah, Jersey Shore. But like shows like those, like and took off, and it was like it was like a rocket, to the races. Like everybody's got to get their own reality TV show, and like MTV got so many that did blow up a lot. Like like Bam Margera, Viva La Bam, and
well, they started out with like The Real World. They had that whatever the race one was at the time. They had those reality TV shows.
I actually, going back and thinking about it, there's a lot of good shows that I still would watch to this day if they were still like. I like The Challenge. I used to like watching those people get drunk and beat up each other and do stuff. Like that was entertainment to me.
Exactly.
I'm not gonna lie. I liked the Jersey Shore when I grew up. I didn't. I hate it, but I hate to say it, but like the original like first couple episodes or whatever seasons were really good. They were just entertainment for me. Like not not saying I wanted
because it wasn't your reality. You were checking out other people's reality.
Yeah, I wanted to live. I didn't want to live that lifestyle.
You wanted to be Snooki.
I wanted to be Snooki and get drunk and sit in bed all day.
Grandma Jay, she calls her great grandkids bitch.
Yeah, so weird.
You ever seen that?
Yeah.
Beavis and Butthead making fun of Jersey Shore.
Yeah, in South Park when he call her this thing that we call from Jersey. It's called a Snooki, and so he's like, Snooki wants a smush smush.
Smush smush.
Yeah.
Smush smush.
But it was. Go back on the top and lose my train of thought.
Sorry, dude.
No, you're good. There were some really good reality TV shows, but yeah, MTV definitely took the kibosh because they're like, we're going to go from MTV music, and they used to have what was one of the good music shows they had?
MTV Raps. They had Headbangers Ball. The alternative show, I can't remember what it was. They had so
every
many.
Day after school around 4:00 there was a show on though. It was like
Super Rock was on.
Was TRL on that show?
Yeah, TRL was on there.
Okay, so we're looking.
They also had some game shows like Singled Out with Jenny McCarthy.
Yeah, Singled Out was a good show, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, I wanted to be on that show so bad.
There's a couple dating shows in the show,
but then back in the day, they also had Remote Control.
Yeah,
they had really quality adult entertainment. Well, not adult, but like mid, almost teenager,
adolescent.
So yeah, thank you, adolescent.
Yeah,
their demographic. But then they started showing more cartoons and. Like when Rugrats came out. Mm-hmm. First there was Rugrats, and after that was SpongeBob, and then it's just showing all these other ones.
Talking about Nickelodeon on MTV.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, my bad. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're going off two different topics.
But no, TV was like that. Yeah, they had a lot of game shows, and they had a lot of, like you said, music shows.
It's weird they're trying to bring music back. What they should have done for having so many MTV shows, MTV 1 and 2, and maybe MTV 2 should have been always dedicated to music. MTV 1 should have been dedicated to this, or flip-flop, right? Yeah. Don't show different stuff.
Just flip-flop it, yeah.
Right, I mean, that was why Beavis and Butthead was so successful. We'll go down that just for a second, it was a cartoon based around two people who are metalheads, right? And
that everybody could adapt with.
Everybody could relate to and adapt to. And they had these guys, shitheads at school, but at the same time, they always incorporated music to it on MTV and was always like newer music or popular music, like and a lot of stuff they would listen to, which I always thought was cool. So to each their own, but that made sense for that to be on MTV at the time, and then evolved to more of these shows, and then they lost the train of like what is MTV really for? Like the MTV Music Awards now, they're still for music and stuff, but do people really care about it as much as they used to? Because there's no music really on MTV anymore, so it doesn't. Those awards don't make sense to me.
It should be YouTube Music Awards instead of MTV Awards,
or like Pandora,
yeah, exactly. Spotify,
iHeartRadio, or something like that, where more majority of people stream and listen to music, or Spotify. Right. I don't get my music from MTV.
Yeah, I don't.
The one thing
for years.
The one reason I went to MTV because when I was a kid, there was no YouTube. So like the music videos you'd come out, you'd see them, they were popular, and that's how you listen to music when you didn't have the radio on at your house or something. So it was like it was a cool way to listen to music.
Yeah, and you didn't pick the music; they picked it for you. And so if kind of like Beavis and Butthead too, they can tell you what sucks and what doesn't suck.
Yeah, I mean MTV is kind of a dying thing that's just hanging on by.
It's been dead. I think it's just been dead.
It's kind of like ESPN, right? They don't even really talk about sports anymore. They talk more about politics and shit that people don't want to listen to in sports. So same thing with music. They don't hold really any ground anymore in the music industry because people don't really care about MTV. Like the only reason they're still around is because of their name, right? And that's the only thing they really have going for them. So to get back on gear, what we're talking about though, another shitty sequel to me was Batman and Robin, and the reason I picked this, and we could actually talk about this for a couple different things, but Batman as a whole has too many different Batmans and too many different storylines, but there is. Be fair, there is different genres of Batman, right?
Yeah.
So most people don't know that either. There's not just crime fighting like street Batman. There's other different types of Batman that are out there. So
that's why they can make so many movies about it.
Correct. they had the comics. There's different types of Batmans, which is fine. The reason I picked this movie was it was another movie that had nothing to do with Batman. And that was a movie they tried different things with comedic relief, putting Jim Carrey in there, put Arnold in as the main villain, which Arnold has never really been a villain, so it was kind of weird to me. But as a kid, I liked it because I ate it up. I loved Jim Carrey. I loved Arnold.
Don't forget Tommy Lee Jones was in there.
Yeah, and Tommy Lee Jones, of course, sorry. And then you got, what's her name? Poison Ivy.
Uma Thurman.
Yeah.
Drew Barrymore was in it, too.
Drew Barrymore was in it as well.
Yeah. I forgot who the other Two-Face one was.
That's Tommy Lee Jones.
No, so who his other woman was, because he had Drew Barrymore in another one.
Oh yeah, I can't remember. I don't know. Yeah, Drew Barrymore was in there, and then
Alicia Silverstone was in it.
Yep, Alicia Silverstone, and then who played Robin again?
Chris O'Donnell.
Chris O'Donnell, that's right. He just fall off the face of the earth one day, like
that's the only thing I can remember him in besides like Dead Poets Society or something like that.
Yeah,
some artsy movie.
And then the main character, of course, is
Val Kilmer.
Val Kilmer. Before he got,
Well, there's Val Kilmer, and then the one after that was George Clooney.
Yeah, George Clooney. Which in reality.
Oh, Nicole Kidman was in it too.
That's right, Nicole Kidman was in there too. So a lot of good A-list actors.
Great A-list.
But the storyline is all for Batman. It didn't really mesh in with the other Batmans. But I guess to me, maybe it wasn't really a sequel. They say it was a sequel for Batman Around, but really to me, it could be another standalone. Really in this category.
Exactly. Because you got the two Tim Burtons, which is Michael Keaton.
Yep.
But then you had Joel Schumacher, who made it campy and he made it more towards the comic, I believe, because there's so many bright colors and stuff like that. Tim Burton, he's the dark colors and stuff like that, dark backgrounds and what have you. So I think that's what it was. Is they made it too comic-y.
They did, and that's why a lot of people didn't like it. Because he's the Riddler. He's supposed to be funny, but I think they did it. Well, he didn't do terrible because I didn't think Jim Carrey played it terrible.
They should have just left him as the villain in one, and then Tommy Lee Jones in another one, or something like that.
They try to combine too many people.
There's two bad guys in that one, and two bad guys in the next one.
What?
So
yeah, I know. Oh, I'm thinking about two different movies. I threw in Arnold Schwarzenegger in this movie.
That's okay.
He's not in this one.
Yeah, he's in the next one. Yeah,
in the next one. I'm sorry.
But
same premise of what I'm talking about. But I liked this movie as a kid. I just don't think it belonged. It's a sequel that belonged. And again, to me, when you talk about Batman, Batman's dark. And DC Comics are supposed to be dark stuff, and I think he's always supposed to be dark. I didn't really feel like this one was really a dark Batman. But again, there's different Batmans, of course.
Yeah. But still, though, I mean, just try to stick to the storyline because that's what got it,
Yeah.
Plus that and Michael Keaton. I mean, a my childhood comedian kind of thing. You never expected him to be an action guy, which I thought was kind of funny because if Michael Keaton didn't take it, they were going for Bill Murray, and if he did that, I wouldn't know what to think.
I don't know either, but in the original, Michael Keaton was actually a really good Batman.
Yeah, he was very good Batman.
I really liked him as Batman, and I heard there's been rumors before that he might do the newer one. But I don't think he's going to. I think he's at the age now where he's like, I can't be Batman anymore, which is whatever.
Yeah. There's also rumors that he's going to be Batman's dad. So
that's what I did hear. Now that would be cool.
Or Bruce Wayne Sr. Or whatever.
Something like that. That would actually be pretty legit. I actually could go along with that.
Yeah.
Now, just side topic on this is, I thought Rob Pattinson looked really terrible at first when I heard about him being Batman, and actually after seeing both trailers, dude, he looks fucking badass as this Batman. Really dark and really crazy. I think it's gonna be a good Batman. I really do. Because after like the Dark Knight, that's how my Batman's always been envisioned. When you have those like that crazy of a Batman, that's what I want to go back to. And I hope this one's kind of like what they did with the Joker.
Yeah.
And they're like standalone Batman. Hope they just knock it out of the park just like that, because that movie to me was. Dude, I saw it twice in the movie theater. I don't ever go see movies twice in movie theater. That movie was fucking phenomenal to me.
Yeah. See, I'm not sure about how I feel about Ben Affleck as Batman.
I don't like him as a Batman. Some people like him, but that's a different Batman.
Yeah, exactly, another different Batman. That was more of the Justice League Batman. Then you have, like you said, the Michael Keaton one. They're their own storyline or whatever they call it.
Yep.
But I still don't. Kevin Smith loves him so bad as Batman, but I think because it's a nostalgic thing for him. But Affleck is no, it doesn't do it.
He don't do it for me for Batman either. I don't see him as Batman. I see Ben Affleck as a different, but of course he's got a relationship with Ben Affleck, so there's that tie to it as well with Kevin Smith. But I see where he's going, and it's not like I hate him as Batman. I don't think he's the worst Batman ever. I think there's worse Batmans.
Yeah.
But to me, he's not my Batman. Let's just say that, right?
There you go. That's good. Every time I see him, I just think of Clerks or Mallrats.
I think the same thing, dude.
Every same damn time I see him put the
suit on,
the cowl on, and I just want to hear him go, "Customer's always an asshole." I always think that.
But
call me Donnie. Which one of the new kids you like? I go straight back to that. There's hardly any actors I do that to, but with him I had to because it's totally 180 from whatever I've seen him in.
Weird topic. Talking about when he's doing that girl or whatever, and she's just taking notes because she's like making.
Yeah, she's bored as hell.
She's bored or whatever, and he's saying, I never got he's like, yeah, call me Donnie. Is he talking about like one of the like Backstreet Boys or something?
No, New Kids on the Block.
New Kids on the Block.
Yeah, he's like, which new kid do you like, or call me new kid, call me Donnie. So yeah, and Donnie, this is weird, really enough. A little trivia.
I never caught that.
Really?
I never caught that at all.
Little trivia for you. Donnie was in the movie Ransom. He was the cop in the Saw 3 or 4. And his brother, Mark Wahlberg.
Oh, his brother's Mark
His
Wahlberg?
Mark Wahlberg, Marky Mark. Yeah.
So they're brothers?
Yeah.
I never knew that.
Yeah.
They have different last names, don't they?
No, they have the same last names.
Do they?
Yeah.
Okay.
Donnie just used to just go by just Donnie, and then Marky Mark, of course. But then, little trivia for you.
I did not know. That's actually pretty cool. It's actually pretty funny, honestly.
Yeah. Now that you think about it, because you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah. So those are like pretty much my topics I had for the shitty sequels. I mean, I do have one more, but it doesn't make any sense to even talk about because no one's ever heard or watched it. But come to find out, Ace Ventura: Pet Detective Jr. came out in 2009.
2009?
2009.
Wow.
Right?
So 10 years, or more than 10 years. I still never heard of it.
Right. So it was portrayed to kids, and it was supposed to be like his son or something that was taking over the business or whatever.
Okay.
It was so bad that I think the only thing they put it in theaters, like, yeah, this ain't going out or whatever, and they just went straight to DVD.
Straight to car wash DVD section.
And people like just pulled it out and said, what's this? I've never seen it on TV, never seen anything about it.
How do you know it exists?
So I was looking up some stuff about sequels one day, and it just came up, and I was like, what is this? I think it just like, you know what it was? They were talking about doing another Ace Ventura with Jim Carrey, and that came up.
Okay.
That's how I saw it. It was in an article, and I was like, what the F is this? I was like, this has to be fake. And I looked at it, and it wasn't fake.
Wow.
I thought it was gonna be like a Netflix spinoff or something like they were making for kids or something.
Nope. Like I said, straight to the dollar bin and the car wash.
Correct. You know what I'm talking about at Walmart?
Yeah.
Dollar bins.
That's how I say car wash.
Yeah, car wash.
That's even worse.
So to talk about that though, from shitty sequels, I just wrote down some good sequel movies too, since we're on the top or whatever.
You gotta do that.
And I'll just name a couple because there's a lot of good sequel movies.
There's thousands we can think of. Yeah.
I'll just name the first one because this one's pretty good, and if you grew up with it, then you know it. Rocky 2.
Yeah.
The original Rocky, obviously, if you knew, came from some poor guy, came from the street, did anything, and he got big, and he actually lost the first fight, right?
Yeah.
Right. It's Apollo Creed.
Yeah. Just barely.
Just barely,
TKO,
right?
Yeah.
It was like one
TKO or something like that.
Yeah.
Whatever it's called.
Yeah. So, and then Rocky 2, of course, the better
back.
one. He came back and fought him again. His doctor told him not to fight or whatever, and he's fighting, and he just got married to the
Adrian.
And dude, he looks in that movie like Sylvester Stallone. I guess it's what they're supposed to be capturing, like some poor guy from like Queens or
Philly.
Or Philly. I'm sorry, Philly. But then like the whole state rallies behind him, or like the city rallies behind him, and he comes on top and comes like like the god of like boxing because he beat Apollo Creed because no one could beat him or whatever.
Right. Well, the first one's just about basically the underdog withstanding the biggest fight of his life.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he didn't win, but he's like, "Yo, Adrian, I did it because he did it because he stood up to, the king or whatever."
Stood up, and the naysayers pretty much, and for that time in the era, boxing was huge.
Yep.
So like in the 80s, boxing was a big sport that people were really into, and then it died off for a while. Now it's starting to come back a little bit, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, good movie, good sequel to me. I think that holds a lot of merit with like a good sequel movie, what it was supposed to look like.
Just stop making Creed movies.
Yeah, you know what? The first Creed that came out,
I didn't see any of them, so I can't really talk. But
so when I first heard about it, real quick, we're gonna talk about that as a movie. I thought it was going to suck. I don't give Michael B. Jordan enough credit. I don't think he's a great actor. I don't think he's a terrible actor, but I think they threw him in a bunch of movies or whatever now as like the big, like, muscular, like not villain, but he goes from being a villain to a good guy in a lot of movies, like Killmonger in Black Panther. I hate him as Killmonger. Yeah. But probably a lot of people disagree with that. Like, he was an awesome villain. To me, I thought he was shitty, so that's just me. But in Creed, it's not that bad of a movie. He's actually pretty good in the movie. I actually liked him as that character in the movie. So I haven't seen Creed 2, or is that even coming out still?
I think it's already out.
Or maybe it's already out. I've seen Creed 1.
Yeah, it is out. Yeah.
It was good.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the second one because really I don't really care about boxing movies that much or whatever. But one reason I really want to see it was because of Sylvester Stallone, if you really want to know.
If you want to see him in a decent movie, we saw him in what was that? Without Remorse, the Tom Clancy movie. Mm-hmm. It's on Prime. It's basically a marksman, or I think he's a Navy SEAL. His team and his wife get killed, and he vows revenge. It's really good, and with the name Without Remorse is exactly what happens. I will just put it that way.
Cool. So it's an action flick.
Very, very action flick. It's on Prime.
I'll check it out.
No plugs because they're not paying us.
Yeah. So Rocky 2 was one of them.
Rocky 2 was good, yes.
Aliens.
Aliens.
So like the original one's called Alien, and people
exactly.
People like why is it called Aliens? It's like because there's multiple aliens.
Exactly, we're the one.
So,
it's like Jaws. They're not calling it Jaws is.
That's correct. If you want to talk about a shitty reboot that I should put in their sequel is Jaws 2, which I don't know if you...
2 is better than 3 and 4, I tell you that.
Yeah.
Not much, but it is.
You can't really redo the original one. Like, real quick, like they made that movie not too long ago that came out with that giant shark. That was
Meg, the Meg, yeah.
Mega, whatever.
The Meg.
The Meg?
Yeah.
Terrible movie.
Megalodon, yeah.
Dude, they...
I made fun of it the entire time. And, of course, who'd they throw in? Jason Statham.
Yeah. Isn't it weird how they throw him in a lot of movies and like just put him in a movie to say like
just to see it? He's kind of like Samuel Jackson. They're just gonna throw it in there to see if people see it because of his status. You know, it's like back in the day, like I said, they would throw a Schwarzenegger in the movie just because to see if it'll get the movie rating or higher rating.
Yeah,
but it didn't work.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah.
Speaking of Schwarzenegger,
yeah. I lost my train of thought. Anyway, we're talking about Aliens. So
yeah,
good movie. The plot was like, you can talk about it. I'm talking about everything.
It's basically people are up in space and aliens attack them. And they're trying to survive and capture these aliens to study them more. And they end up getting shenanigans. And one of the famous lines is, "Let go of her, you bitch." You know, this guy Sigourney Weaver.
And she's a badass.
No, she's a real badass in the movie. And those movies, especially seeing her in other movies I've seen her in, that one would her best movie, I think. Just me personally.
Top down, Aliens and Aliens 2 with her in it. You can't redo this movie. She made the movie, dude.
Yeah, exactly.
It's funny that she goes from being in those movies and then she's in fucking Ghostbusters. It's just like a regular old mom or whatever.
Yeah.
Just just single old woman.
And then even like Galaxy Quest, which is a fucking horrible movie.
Yeah, terrible movie. But yeah, she nailed it. To me, if they're gonna redo Aliens movies, it's like before she gets too old and she can't do anything, it's like throw her ass back in another Aliens movie. Because Prometheus was supposed to be a prequel.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a prequel. Yeah.
Right, and a lot of people hated it. It wasn't up to par. So I heard they're gonna try to remake another Aliens movie, and it's like if you're going to, you better throw her
in there one last time.
Either a cameo or something that she's like gonna teach these people about like aliens and like does something. Something I don't know.
Like Halloween, they threw Jamie Lee Curtis in, so they can continue her story, but then eventually end her story.
Correct.
Make it go full circle.
And let her bloodline like live on, and like Michael's still going after her.
Have an alien come out of her stomach. You know?
Yeah,
that'd be awesome.
Yeah, like
Spaceballs.
Spaceballs.
Hello, my baby. Hello, my darling.
That was so weird. Such a good part, though.
Oh yeah. Water my ass. Get this guy some Pepto.
You know they're supposed to.
They're supposed to do that. Yeah, supposed to do what they're. Last I heard a couple years ago, Mel Brooks is trying to work on a second one. It's something to do with the Schwartz, like the Schwartz Awakens or whatever, something like that. But I don't know what's going on with it. I mean, Mel Brooks is in his 90s now.
Maybe it's in limbo because of COVID.
It could be, or he can't find a studio that wants to do it. You know,
which is weird. They couldn't even find that would be such a hit for so many people.
What he should do, I talked to somebody about this one time, is you've seen Super Troopers, of course. You love that. I know you love that movie. Have you ever seen the second one?
No.
Okay. Well, it steals jokes from the first one, but it's not as good as it. But he should do what they did. They didn't have enough money to fund the money, so they did a kind of crowdfunded GoFundMe thing. Their goal was to get, I think, like $2 million or something like that, if that even. They ended up getting like 8 or 9. So if they can do that for Super Troopers 2, imagine if Bill Brooks did that for Spaceballs. If he says, I need like $2-3 million, something like that, you know he's going to get fucking 50 million, 60 million from people.
All they got to say is who's going to be in the movie. Oh, we got Dan Aykroyd's going to be back.
Exactly.
I'm not Dan Aykroyd, I'm sorry. What's his name?
Bill Pullman.
Rick Moranis.
Bill Pullman.
Yeah.
I think Daphne's still alive.
Yeah, too bad John Candy's not alive, but it's like, they could do CGI John Candy if they really want to.
Yeah, or they could have, because last time I heard about it, they was going to do like Barf's little sister or his little puppy, his daughter, something like that. Which that'd be kind of cool too. Barf. I don't know what they do. Yeah. I have a sticker on my monitor at home that says "Barf is my co-pilot."
Really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
But they could still do stuff like that.
Yeah, they definitely could. That's a cool thing about. Maybe I'll look at some more. I'll read some more into that. It's weird that they haven't came out with it. It's like those are kind of movies people have been asking for. Like when crowds and fans are asking for something.
That's when you should do it.
It's when they should do it, and also this is not the time to just go make something or a reboot or remake of Spaceballs. I've heard someone trying to say they're going to remake one. It's like no. Obviously, Mel Brooks holds the keys to the kingdom to those movies. So it's just like the guy for Back to the Future. what's his name? He said he will never.
Robert Zemeckis.
Yeah, Robert Zemeckis. He won't ever reboot.
Yeah.
There's nothing he will ever give up the rights to redo the movies.
Right.
And he said if they're going to redo it, they have to do it with the original cast, and if not, and they don't want to do it, sorry.
And that's not going to happen because, Christopher Lloyd's in his close to 70s, 80s. Mm-hmm. Michael J. Fox, I don't even know if he could really act anymore.
Well, he still acts. People work with him and they do stuff.
Okay.
He could probably do something. It'd have to be with his kids or something to do Back to the Future.
Yeah. Well, that's all everybody's doing. Yeah. The new Ghostbusters.
Yeah. I mean,
it's their nieces or whatever.
Yeah, because it's hard. But to me, that's something that was wrong with Hollywood. All these movies they want to reboot now, they should have done this 10 or 15 years ago and really cashed in on making it like, hey, here's the the sequel to it, and like people are a little older. Because like to me, I know eventually what I think is going to end up happening. I think, and I know you don't care about these movies. It's like Harry Potter, right? Been out for 20 years. They've been doing whatever. They're going to probably do something when they're older and they have their kids going back to Hogwarts or something. And I heard, what's her name? The original J.K. Rowling said that she's going to end up making their Harry Potter book and writing stuff, or she's already on it.
Power to her. If she wants to do it, shit.
Well, I think that she owes it to the fans and give the fandom, and and not just give in to everything she wants to do. But after she finishes the books with like the Fantastic Beasts, like when they came from, it's like you owe the fans enough to do something like this again. And if not, then just end it, because it's like don't just start leeching off other things, because that's the problem with I think this nowadays is like there's so many fans a part of something. It's like, but there's a true fandom of like the whole genre of like what it originally is. It's like stop making all this weird side content and just either go back to the original story or don't do anything at all. Right? Don't butcher it and make it worse than what it is. So that's all I'm saying. Like, I think there's something coming out with that. And if the time to do it is like now, why people are still into it, and not wait 30 years down the road when she's 90 years old and Daniel Radcliffe's like 75 or like 60, and he's like Harry Potter's coming back. It's like maybe he's the head of Hogwarts or something.
Instead of his magic wand, he's got a cane.
Yeah, he's got a cane.
And we're back.
Yeah, so on top of that, with the Harry Potter stuff. Going back, I think my point was with it, I think they need to stay on track, and if they're going to reboot and remake stuff, it needs to be within a good time frame. And it doesn't need to be like it is now. We're starting to see the downfall of why people are pretty upset while they're making these old movies. It's like The Force Awakens or whatever, like with Harrison Ford coming back and playing in the movie, and it's like he's 60 or 70 years old. It's like doing Indiana Jones when he did it. Not to say the movies were terrible or nothing, just you're waiting way too long for these people, and they might not be around anymore, so you might be killing off a whole franchise.
Like Halloween. Jamie Lee Curtis coming back. And Nick Castle and all them.
Yeah, they should have been doing Halloweens out the wazoo if they're going to be doing while she's still around.
Exactly. If she would do them, though, that's no problem.
She doesn't want to do them?
No, back when she did want to do them after the 80s or after the second one. But then in the 90s, she's like, okay, sure, why not? Cash cow, cashing it in. Then she died off doing those because they killed her off in the 8th one. And then they brought her back in the newer one.
That's another thing that pissed me off about the movie. It's like, how do you kill her off and then want to bring her back? So it's like
different story timelines. I
like how they're redoing it and kind of like trying to restart. I wish they would have let off from 1 and 2 and just went down the right roads with those. That's the biggest problem with those. But some other good sequel movies I put in here were like The Dark Knight was a good one.
Very good.
Superman 2.
Yep, the original ones, yes, of course.
Superman 2 was definitely better than the first one, in my opinion.
I don't know if you knew about it. The Superman 2 is the first movie was 3 hours long, and they shot the second one at the same time.
Yeah, I did. I knew that.
It would have been a 5-hour fucking movie.
Yeah, I know they split it in half.
Yeah.
What was in there? A good one.
Terminator 2 was really good.
It's probably the best sequel of all time.
Yeah, I agree.
It's probably one of the most iconic sequels that everyone's like, what's the first movie you can think of that's a sequel that was actually better than the first one? Terminator 2. Right?
By far.
Terminator 1 was good. Arnold at the time was like the most mega big star name coming in, and like this is his biggest movie of all time. Like everybody knows Arnold because of Terminator 2. Right?
Exactly. You don't think of Twins, you don't think of Junior, or those other shitty movies, Server Commando, whatever it was.
When he's like Mr. Mom, what's that movie?
Yeah, Mr. Yeah.
Yeah, you think of Terminator 2, like
Kindergarten Cop. That's what it was.
Kindergarten Cop. Yeah. That's actually not that bad movie. It's actually pretty funny.
The second one sucked.
A lot of good, huh?
Second one.
Second one definitely.
Don't want to see it.
Don't want to see it. I definitely will say, Commando wasn't a terrible movie. I actually loved Commando.
Me too.
My dad used to always go to Blockbuster and get me the same movies all the time. And it was always Rambo, Commando, and a bunch of movies. My dad would be like, you want to watch these movies again? I'd be like, yep.
Fuck yeah.
I want to watch them again. I would literally watch the same movies over and over again.
Yeah, especially, used cars.
used cars.
Every Christmas.
What, my dad?
Yeah. When I came over, used cars was on. Then once he found it on DVD, he was like, "Oh, the Mecca."
Yeah, he still got it on DVD and he still records it. You know, that'd be funny about it. That was Kurt Russell in the movie, right?
Yeah.
They don't play that movie on TV ever.
Yeah, they used to play on Comedy Central once in a while, but then they totally dropped it like it never existed.
Really weird that movie and I guess a lot of people don't think it's a really good movie, but
for the time it was really good.
I thought it's a good movie. I think
it's funny as hell.
I think it lives up to the whole stereotype of people who are car salesmen over used car salesmen, and just like what people do and like the scummy shit they have to do to sell cars or do stuff.
Just to live, just to have a business.
Yeah, but even today's day, there's still a stigma and stereotype with every car salesman that they're a piece of garbage.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I don't know if it's because of that movie or it's just because of it's like people think that everybody that plays video games is a beard. Yeah, nerd.
Sit home nerd, 300 pounds.
Or someone that's,
diet of Hot Pockets and Code Red.
Yeah, got a neck beard and just sits in their basement and trolls people all day and does stuff. And it's like, that's not
completely true.
You know. Well, I mean, I'm sure there's still people that do that, but that stereotype is gone. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's not the same stereotype.
Well, I think the nerds now, I'm not trying to call people nerds, but like nerds now compared to nerds back in the 80s, totally different.
Different thing.
Totally different.
Because honestly, between me and you, I consider myself a nerd.
Yeah, me too.
Not to say that I have to be someone who wears a pocket protector and
tape on your glasses
and stuff like that, or I'm just a big math nerd. But it's like you can be a nerd in anything nowadays, like nerd out and stuff. So you
nerd out in South Park and Counter-Strike and stuff like that,
or whatever games I'm into, or books I'm into.
I'm Metallica and heavy metal stuff, so whatever. It's a passion.
It's a old school term that people still use, like, hey, he's a nerd or whatever, and that stuff. And it's like, sure, they might be a nerd in some, but that doesn't make them a bad person or anything. Right. But I don't take offense to it or nothing, but I don't care. It's like you get to a certain age, you just realize
it's like, fuck you, I don't care.
Yeah, I don't care. Like, why I'm not gonna lose sleep or care what you think about me or whatever. You affect me one iota, but I think it's cool nerding out on shit. I like being in stuff. I like being lost in stuff. I like getting out of the mundane same shit every day, like politics, news, Facebook stuff I don't care about, people that I don't care about anymore. Like, I don't have any, ties to you anymore. So
why should I? Yeah,
I'm gonna get wrapped up in stuff that I enjoy, and I'm only here once, so why not enjoy the stuff you enjoy, man? You know.
YOLO.
YOLO.
Nerd. I gotta say that in there.
What?
The YOLO in there.
Yeah, the YOLO.
Yeah.
But it is funny though, man. That's still that. You just to talk about the gaming stuff real quick, because I do have a fond passion with gaming and have made a lot of good memories and met a lot of good people from it. The thing that bothers me the most is that still there's this weird stereotype with it, and it's like, cool. Like, people playing games. It's like, again, I could kick myself because I don't have this anymore, and I think I've talked about it maybe on different podcasts or maybe just in general with my family or friends or people that know me. It's when I was in high school. I'm sorry, when I was in college and I took like a break from gaming, I got back into it when I was actually dating Laura. I wrote from my essay for college, for graduation, was on esports and how it was like a big thing and people just didn't know it was going to be coming. And it's like when I saw the involvement of Twitch come out, and because I was a semi-pro gamer for when I was younger. The thing that always stood out to me was I wish I would have invested money and did something like this because I could kick myself. But hindsight's always 20/20, right? People laughed at me that I wrote that one day there will be professional people that get paid for playing video games and doing stuff. That was kind of like what my topic essay was on or whatever. And I got a lot of laughs and weird looks in my class, and they're like, you're out to lunch type of look, and it's like, who's fucking laughing now, bro? It's like, look at these kids. They're 16-year-old kids making, or 18-year-old kids, millions of dollars for a year playing a video game, right?
Exactly.
I saw the big picture. A lot of other people didn't go, but it's like, are they nerds now too because they're whatever? It's still considered. I mean, it's more mainstream now, but there's still people that look at it and say that's bullshit, and that's only kids that are not motivated in life, they don't do this kind of stuff, or yada yada. There's always gonna be stereotypes to it, but it's become more mainstream, and it's actually there's more people who are into this and watching people play games than there's sports nowadays, which is a funny statistic that people don't know. A couple years ago, the League of Legends final tournament or whatever, their big let's say kind of like their Stanley Cup or whatever, had like 10 times the amount of viewers than the NBA Finals did.
Wow.
You know, like
that I believe.
like stuff like that. You know,
Yeah.
I believe that too. I'm just saying that's just shit that happens, whatever.
Exactly.
So go down that rant. Sorry, but yeah. I think the only good sequel movies I put on there that I could think off the top of my head was like Blade 2. I thought was a good sequel.
Yeah.
You know, with Wesley Snipes.
Oh yeah.
Which I heard
there's a fourth one.
he's gonna make another one, and apparently it's gonna be part of Marvel.
Of course, yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's part of that universe, if I'm not mistaken. So he has said he's gonna do it again, and Wesley Snipes still looks the same, which is gonna be great. So
Oh yeah.
trying to put someone else in Blade
would not work.
It probably wouldn't
If
work.
anything, Michael B. Jordan, but that's the only one I got.
He could probably do it. You're probably right. That is actually probably someone who could actually.
I'm typecasting him though because all the action movies he's been in, but still.
For sure, but yeah, Wesley Snipes for sure. I mean, they even talked about redoing Demolition Man with him and
God.
it's like, come on, dude, you guys are way too old for Demolition Man. You know,
I do admit that one was very funny. I love that movie.
Such a good movie.
Oh yeah,
such a good.
The best part was when he's cussing and he's just like, "Shit, fuck." Thanks for the
the little pull tab tickets.
Yeah. Thanks for the 3 seashells.
Yeah, he's like, I'm gonna go back to the restroom and just wipe my ass with it, or whatever, which is hilarious.
Last night, actually, I quoted that movie last night. Jen and I were watching something, and they said, "Be well," and I was like, "Yeah, you too."
Yeah.
So when he pulled the guy's eyeball out.
Be well.
Yeah. Get fucked.
Yeah, that was a good movie, dude.
Yeah.
I haven't watched the Blades in a while, but I hope they redo it.
Yeah.
You know, they even talked about redoing Spawn not too long ago. I heard someone talk
Yes,
about
I've been hearing about that for the longest time now.
God, that would be cool to see a Spawn redo.
Oh yeah.
I don't know who's gonna play Spawn, but the original one actually I really liked when I was a kid.
Yeah, I still like it. Comics were the shit though, of course. I love those.
What?
The comics that were on
Spawn comics.
Yeah, the cartoon that was on.
Yeah, I think that could
HBO.
actually be I think that could be a cool like superhero villain, whatever.
Yeah.
Even in a
Anti-hero.
Anti-hero movie. Yeah, sorry.
It's kind of like Venom. He's a bad guy, but you cheer for him.
Yes, but if you put him in Spider-Man, you're not really cheering for him,
that's
right?
different.
When it's standalone, it's kind of more like what he is. But when they're in
Yeah.
Spider-Man, he's the villain, not the same. So,
Yeah. I love the Venom 2 trailer, by the way.
yeah, it looks really good, doesn't it?
Looks funny as hell too. The part when he's like, "Hi, Mrs. Chen." She's like, "Hi, Venom." He
Yeah.
says, "Hi." What? No chocolate. We
Yeah.
got a deal.
Yeah,
You know what? We will not eat Mrs. Chen.
yeah,
And he's like making them breakfast. Got waffles and eggs and shit. Just throws shit together. Want some ketchup? Some
Yeah.
what?
yeah. It actually looks pretty good. Yeah,
Yeah, it does.
I like Tom
Woody
Hardy.
Harrelson, good too.
Woody Harrelson. So if he's gonna be Carnage and it's
Yeah.
supposed to be funny, he's definitely that kind of
Right.
serious, funny type role that
Yeah.
he can play. That's definitely like his niche role.
Tom Hardy, you were saying, yeah, he's a good guy. I did not like him in Mad Max, but that's just that movie I didn't like too much.
I like Mad Max. Which one? There's two of them.
The Road Fury.
The new one, like
The remake,
2015 or something.
The original ones I like, but the
The original one, like the remake, was not bad. I don't think it was terrible. Or
It's just the
anything.
way it was shot. It's just the cameras and camera angles and stuff like that, and the shakiness of it. It just to me it threw me off.
Trying something different.
Yeah, of course.
See if it, that's
Yeah.
what just happens. Some people take a chance on it works. Most of the time it flops, whatever. But
Charlize Theron.
I mean, yeah, she can. Thank
She
you.
can throw on my day any day.
Yeah. So my other topic that I had, we can kind of discuss whatever, is actors who should have quit long time ago.
Oh yes.
And I'll let you go. I have it.
I know you threw in Steven Seagal in there. Yes, definitely. He should gave that up in the early 90s. He's the epitome of typecasting.
Mm-hmm.
He's always the guy that seems mellow and cool, and nobody knows about his dark secret that he's a ninja master kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I loved Under Siege. That was a good movie. Second one, blah. But it's the same character every single movie he's been in.
Yep.
The only thing I can think of differently that he was in the first Machete movie, he was the bad guy. Other than that, everything is exact same.
He's definitely typecasted. It's kind of like the guy off of what's his name? Family Matters. You know, he's always a cop.
Yes,
you know?
exactly.
But he's good as a cop.
Exactly.
Where he's good. Steven
Yeah.
Seagal in Under Siege, when I was a kid, that was like a huge movie, action movie.
Yes.
But I always thought his hair was fucking weird, and I still think to this day that it was really weird.
It's still the same hair though. That's the
same
thing.
still- hey.
Slicked back in a ponytail.
Ponytail, and it's like, curly or whatever.
Yeah.
He's just to me, he's a weird dude. I don't know why, but yeah, he's definitely someone that should have quit a long time ago, and
Yes.
somehow he's still making appearances in certain things.
Wasn't he in like an Expendables movie?
He was.
I think. Okay, that's what I thought.
And I
of course.
also like when South Park made fun of him, which was great. We came in with the leather jacket on, and stuff, and he's fat.
Yes.
That was good.
Yes, definitely him. I'm trying to think who was the other one want to see the other day. Adam Sandler.
Adam Sandler's definitely someone. I think it finally took him to that point where he got hooked up with Netflix.
Yeah.
That he decided to, be in his own movie. And the movie, to me, people are like, oh, it was like #1 on Netflix trending like last Halloween or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Whatever. I thought it was terrible, dude. I just didn't think it was a good movie.
Yeah.
Like he tried to go back to his roots and do like the funny Adam Sandler stuff. It's like,
but
dude,
you can't do that.
not at 50.
No, exactly.
And
there's so many times you could do dick and fart jokes like Billy Madison or Happy Gilmore. You can't do that when you're older because it's not as funny.
I'll always love Adam Sandler because I grew up with him. Like Happy Gilmore being a hockey/golf movie.
Yeah.
I'm not the hugest golfer, but I grew up playing golf. I liked it or whatever. And of course, I'm a huge hockey fan, so I love it. And I love the appreciation for it. But his movie is in those days, those times have come and gone, and people don't want to be like Waterboy. Great for this time.
Yeah.
Happy Gilmore.
I think Anger Management was the last really good movie I liked him in.
Yeah, Anger Management good. I don't like the movie where they all hang out as friends and like they're like going on vacation or whatever.
Yeah,
that kind of like that's when it started like ruining it for me and for Adam Sandler movies. Him, David Spade.
Yeah, Schneider.
Yeah, Rob Schneider. They're all
Chris
great
Rock.
actors.
Yeah,
we're talking about all hilarious comedians.
But they're on their own. Put them in their own movie. Don't put them all together.
Yeah, they put them all together, and it just didn't work for me, man.
Yeah.
Like, and at the end, like it went from like being the cool dad always wanted to win. Like, hey, we'll get him next year, son. Like that was fun. Like some of our dad win. Like, I get the whole appear to movie. It's like more of a family comedy movie, whatever. But to me, it didn't sit well with them. And then like even like Click, I thought Click was terrible.
Yeah, Click was terrible.
Didn't like that movie.
50 First Dates.
I hated that movie.
Yeah.
I didn't think. I mean, Drew Barrymore is crazy, so like she played that role perfect. But him being like a zookeeper and doing stuff like it doesn't sit right with me as Adam Sandler.
It was more of a family-friendly movie than it was an actual like Adam Sandler kind of movie.
And it was supposed to be more comedy and stuff.
Exactly.
And he was trying something different. I get it. And then the worst movie for Adam Sandler for me, I think that ruined his career. Little Nicky was, it was up there. But his most recent movie was that Gem movie when he. When he's like a diamond dealer, is a Jewish guy.
Yeah.
And he's selling diamonds, and he's supposed to be like some like Jewish guy, but he's like underground. And he's got a betting problem and stuff like that. Uncut Gems.
Thank you.
That movie was fucking terrible. I'm sorry, dude. Like Adam Sandler is a serious like gangster, not even a gangster, just someone that has like a drinking / like gambling problem, and he's in debt with the sharks, but he's a diamond jeweler. I don't know. It just didn't make sense to me for him to be in that role. I think he was just trying something to see if it would fit.
Yeah.
It was terrible for me. And he's got Kevin Durant or whatever his name was in
Kevin
the movie.
James?
No, not Kevin James. Kevin, the guy that played basketball for the Celtics, the big tall guy. Kevin Garnett. Garnett.
Yeah, Garnett.
He was supposed to be like one of the basketball players in the movie,
Yeah.
because he, whatever. The movie was just a flop to me. So that to me was like his calling. But as a producer for things like Happy Productions, whatever
Happy
he does for
Madison.
something, Happy Madison. I think he can do good in that role. I think he can make some good movies. Like Big Daddy was another great movie with him in it, right? Like he had his time, and I think those time of movies are gone unless he finds like his niche. Like I like that he puts his friends in his movies. I think those are always fun. Like Rob Schneider to me, he always makes them in these like little funny roles or whatever. Those work, but I don't know. The movie that came out on Netflix, I was like, damn, dude. Like Adam Sandler just went down the tube.
For me, when he went down the tubes for it was when not just said 50 First Dates. Was Zohan or Zohan, whatever. I watched the first 10 minutes of that, and I was like, I'm done.
When he was like the
some kind of Swami-looking guy, and
the Swami hairstylist, or whatever.
Yeah, I watched the first 10 minutes of that, and I'm like, dude, I got to turn this off. This is stupid.
Don't mess with the Zohan.
Exactly.
I couldn't take it. It's weird when you hate to say this, but it's like some of these actors and people, they get stuck in these roles and they can't escape them. He's just one of those people, man. Like,
but is it he making the character, or is it somebody else doing it? That's the problem.
It's him.
Yeah,
I think most of his movies, he's got a lot of the full control of it and wants to do certain things and be creative. And I get it; he's trying different stuff or whatever.
He's just throwing shit against the wall and see what sticks. That's all it is.
He should always just stuck to his roots. What worked with him, because I think that's the problem with a lot of those actors that get in those ages. It's like Will Ferrell trying to be serious or do something. It's like, no, he's always been the funny guy, and it's like it's always worked for him. So I don't want to see Will Ferrell serious.
Exactly.
I don't want to see Adam Sandler serious.
Right.
But I guess when you get to a certain age, some people just don't feel like they can
pull it off anymore.
That's right. But I think he still could have, if he was just done the right movies for the right reasons, not just to make movies. So I guess he was one of them. You picked Steven Seagal and Adam Sandler. I'll just put two of them together. It's Al Pacino and Robert De Niro, the Italian dynamic duo of movies. At one point in time, Al Pacino did retire, but then he got talked into coming back and doing that movie in like 2019 with Martin Scorsese.
Yeah, the Irishman.
I thought the movie was terrible.
I watched the first hour of it, and I was so fucking bored with it. I'm like, I can't. I used to love De Niro. You know, I grew up watching Scarface with Pacino and Devil's Advocate, all those movies, and all the comedy-ish movies with De Niro, and it's just like, I can't do it.
No,
what happened?
They got to a point where they got too old and they just got outused and abused. It's like Joe Pesci, same thing, right?
Yes.
But Joe Pesci retired on his own too. He stopped at a certain age and just was like, I'm going to be done. Like Al Pacino, he did come back for that movie, and I think after the movie he was like, fuck, I shouldn't have came back into this movie. But I guess being a friend
friend of him, yeah.
Yeah, so they were trying to do something all Italian. I get it. And Robert De Niro to me has just got way just down the rabbit hole of just doing too many low budget films and doing too many films that they're just not in his wheelhouse at all.
Again, he was Machete too.
I don't even want to talk about that movie for a minute.
I like the first two. Third one,
I think he was great as the grandpa in Little Fuckers or whatever.
Meet Fuckers.
And then they tried to they did Meet the Fuckers too, and I was like, both these were great with Robert De Niro because he actually fit the role perfectly in that role.
That was him.
But in Little Fuckers or whatever.
Yeah.
Dude, you should have ended it at 2. Like that movie didn't even exist. I watched the movie for like 30 minutes, Tim, and I was like, I'm never watching this movie ever again. So I think he's just one of those actors too. It's like he's been here and done, and he's gone. Yeah. You know, like Casino, like dude, great movie.
Come on, great. Goodfellas, come on.
We're talking about some iconic films these guys have been in, and
they're just fell off. They need to fall off.
Well, it's just like anybody. Like it's like these actors. Some of them they love the limelight and they can't get out of the whole. I got to be in front of the camera and I want to do stuff. And it's like that's cool. There's probably roles or cameos you can make, but you don't need to be the front and center, limelight of stuff that's going on anymore. So that's just me.
Even like the next topic you want to talk about, the people who hung it up when that nobody knew about. Like once. Sean Connery. He did League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. He didn't like it. He quit.
That's true. That is very true. He
was very freaking horrible, by the way.
And Sean Connery actually retired too. He said also, to talk about that, is because he wasn't getting the main role in movies anymore. And he was always used to getting, I'm the main guy. And they said, dude, I hate to say it, but like your time's come and done. Like we don't have a role for you to be the main character anymore. Yeah. Sean Connery's a badass actor. I love most of his movies, like The Rock and shit that he's in.
Indiana Jones, come on, Indiana Jones.
Indiana Jones. I'm sorry, I'm just naming movies off the top of my head right away.
Anything after that, not so much.
Yeah, who's in their actor? I found out there. Nicolas Cage. I just out there. He's never been one of my favorite actors, but he's done some good movies.
The Rock was good.
Exactly.
The Rock, Raising Arizona.
Gone in 60 Seconds.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't like the. What's the movie where he's like a treasure hunter? National Treasure. I don't think he's bad in that movie, but
first one was good. Second one,
yeah, I like the first one. But after those movies, I think he should have hung it up. Like he did, like that skeleton movie when he was like it was supposed to be
Ghost Rider.
Ghost Rider.
Yeah,
I hated that movie with him in it.
Yeah,
and that movie where like he could change time or like whatever he was.
Was it Season of the Witch or Time Changer?
No, it was something like that. I remember there's a part like where like a bowling, like a boulder's getting ready to roll on him, and like he can manipulate time and move stuff.
I know what you're talking about.
He's got the long crazy hair in the movie.
Yeah. Not Time Benders, is it?
I don't know.
Airbenders? No.
Something stupid.
Something, but yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Like that movie was terrible to me, and like I'm surprised that's why I haven't seen him in movies. He was in Face Off.
Yeah.
Like great movie.
Exactly.
He's been there and done that. What's some other people? I mean, I could say we can say Jean-Claude Van Damme or Jean-Claude Van Damme. Yeah. He hasn't really been in any movies. He just like a lot of like commercials.
He was the Expendables for part on one of them, but then after that, I've never seen much. I think either he did a third one of his older movies, and it's just I'm like, he did that really.
There was someone who said they're going to remake a movie. If they're going to remake a good movie, it was like remake Bloodsport in this time and day.
I could see that.
I forget what movie they were talking about that was comparable that just came out or something. They were talking about like doing a tournament. Oh, Brandon told me this, and I think he made the greatest point. The new Mortal Kombat that came out and made a tournament-style movie or whatever, you think Mortal Kombat, you think tournaments and fighting and stuff. Yeah. He's like, you need to make a Mortal Kombat, but in Bloodsport-style movie, like an actual tournament, something like that.
Yes.
Like they did the original Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
He's like, that's what people want.
That's what I heard that they were going to do is they were going to continue the story. This was just starting a story to get to the tournament. Because you notice they got rid of spoilers for everybody, but it actually got rid of the people before the tournament. Mm-hmm. That's the whole idea is make sure they didn't make it to the tournament.
Mm-hmm.
So if they continue with the second one into a tournament, that would be badass.
My opinion is I have so much nostalgia and a past and history with Mortal Kombat and know a lot about it. The movie to me sucked. I think that the main character was just terrible. I think they left out a lot of shit, and they put a lot of extra shit they needed to put in there. I think they should have got them right into like the thing of like where they're training for the tournament, yada yada, fight for it, whatever. I don't want to ruin the movie or spoiler or anything, but I think they could have went a different direction. Maybe the second one, like you're saying, they'll maybe go down this direction. Maybe the second one would be a good sequel to it, or whatever.
Johnny Cage, though, I don't know. Not a Cage fan.
Well, I think the original arc of the story in the backstory, I think he's a big main character, just like in the original one that came in there. So Hollywood actor comes in, yada yada. So
right, we'll see.
Here's another one, and probably people agree to disagree on this. And I can agree to disagree. Is Sylvester Stallone?
Yes.
And the reason I say it is because I love Sylvester Stallone. But I think his time has come and gone in action movies. I think after the last Rambo he did, which I think was awesome.
Oh yeah, I love that one. The unrated version's the best.
It's just great movie with him in. And I actually like Escape Plan a lot. A lot of people didn't like that movie. He made a second one. He should have ended at the first one. He did it with like other people like Jason Statham or someone else in there. Right. You know what it's about, right? You've seen it. But to me, he should have hung it up a while ago, or just did what he was doing like in Rocky, where he's playing like the older guy. He doesn't need to be the main character in movies. Right. But Rambo, exception to the rule, but I think he should have hung up his stuff in a while ago. Like, I don't know. I guess maybe I'm just
before the Expendables. You think he should have, or
no? I think after Rambo, he should have been done. I think the last Rambo, he should have been like, "This is my last movie. I'm done." But I guess he's one of those guys that just likes to work and wants to be in front of people and do stuff. You know what I'm saying, man? And then I already talked on earlier is Harrison Ford. Yeah. Another great actor. People waited way too long to make movies for him, man. Like, why are you waiting to make Indiana Jones when the dude's almost 70 years old, or he's in the 70s, or you know what I'm saying?
Kind of good. Spoiler alert, of course. The good thing they killed him off in Star Wars because they could have kept going with him.
They did, which was good. I think that people need to see him in the movie, and they've been asking for a long fucking time for him to be in the movie. Exactly. So it made sense. But. Those are just my opinion. I don't know. Do you have any other actors you could name that you think should go a long time ago?
Shoot, there's so many of them, though. That's the problem. I have a buzz in my ear.
I've heard that a couple times too. I don't know. Okay. It might be the cord.
Okay, it's gone. Maybe touch on this one next time.
Yeah, that's fine.
I can't think off the top of my head.
There's probably a lot. Those are just the ones I came up with, spitball and thinking in my head, like, hey, who are some actors I thought that should have quit a long time ago, and to me, those are like a lot of the ones that
really should have
that stuck out in my head with recent movies I could think of and stuff. So, another little side topic I thought about we could talk about is actors who didn't quit. So Barry Brock talked about it, is actors who didn't quit. I'm sorry, actors who did quit, but we didn't know they quit.
Oh yeah.
And one of the big ones to me was I came up with was Cameron Diaz, because
I really don't believe that's amazing. I did not know.
I think she took up. So a little backstory of her is she wasn't even an actress at one point. The first movie she ever acted in was The Mask.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And she looked good then.
Dude, she was so fucking hot back then, and everyone was like, I think that blew up because she was so hot, and she actually did a pretty good job. She didn't have a lot of lines, but she had no acting experience. They just brought her in because I think she was a model or something. I don't remember what she was doing and stuff, but that just happened. The other thing was with her is I think she got burnt out and said that she was sick of traveling all the time for movies, and she was never at home. And when she was younger, she got to a point in her age where she's like, I want to kind of just start doing my own thing. Yeah. So like apparently she like wrote a book, and
I didn't know that.
She wanted to do some other stuff. So I think that's like, I think she like made some health stuff she's into, and some other stuff she's invented.
Make her own candle, smells like her vagina.
Yeah, exactly. Fuck. I forgot who did that.
Gwyneth Paltrow.
That's Gwyneth Paltrow. And she sold out of them too.
She sold out, and she's trying to make more.
Yeah, I saw that.
It's like, come on, dude.
That was on Twitter not too long ago.
At first I heard that, I thought it was fake, and I'm like, no, it's not.
But she's made some good movies though, Cameron Diaz, dude. Like we're talking about like Something About Mary, and Gangs of New York. She was in Charlie's Angels, The Mask. Those are just ones I'm hitting off the top of my head, but
But yeah,
she was a good actress. I think in 2018 she finally hung up the thing and said, "I'm retired." But people just didn't know. She didn't make it public. I think she just told like people and like
faded away.
I guess her publicist and people just started telling people that she could fade away. Like, but there's a lot of people like that. Like who's another one that was a good actress that did not do that had kids. Another woman that was in a lot of movies. What was her name? She was very popular in the early 2000s.
Was it Demi Moore? Demi Moore.
No, not Demi Moore. Man, she's on the tip of my tongue. I can think of her name.
Bet you wish she was.
No shit.
Who was it? Or you got anything she was in?
I'm trying to think. What was that movie? Sin City. She was in Sin City.
Oh.
You know, the hot little brunette girl.
Yeah. Not Jessica Biel, was it? Or
no, not Jessica Biel.
Yeah, the other one?
Yeah, the other one.
Fuck. Jessica Biel, then there was Alba.
Jessica Alba, that's what it is. Yeah, she was another one that just retired and didn't tell anybody.
Yeah,
she just one day when she had kids, she's like, "I'm gonna settle down or whatever, and I'll go back to acting."
No,
she hasn't got back. I don't think she hasn't needed to. She made so much money at one point. She was in so many good movies. So
exactly.
So it's funny. I think Gene Hackman is one.
Yeah, he got old though too.
He said he quit because of the Ray Romano thing. Do you know what I'm talking about? Right?
Maybe Ray Romano made fun of him or something.
I think he was going to do a movie on Ray Romano or something to do with Ray Romano, and he didn't like what was going to happen, and he just said peace out and didn't really say I'm retiring, but just never came back.
Oh, I'm gonna check that out. See what it is.
Yeah. So
okay. Wow.
Big actor, dude. He did so many good
movies.
Dude,
Blazing Saddles, Spaceballs. Come on, dude. See no evil, hear no evil.
Yeah.
Come on.
Gene Hackman's a legend. So
you can't. When you think of Mel Brooks, you have to think of Gene Hackman. You have to. If you don't, then you're a what do you call this? Millennial.
Yeah. We were talking about Sean Connery. He was actually one of my picks.
Yeah.
So he quit because he can't be a lead actor in most movies anymore, which it just comes with the age.
Well, now he's dead.
Territory,
so.
Huh?
Now he's dead. So.
Yeah.
He can't exactly start in
it. Yeah, I know, but you know what I'm saying.
They do a weekend of Bernie's with him.
Yeah. Rick Moranis was a big one to me because, dude, he was such a good actor in so many good movies, and then he had kids and
his wife got sick, cancer or something.
Yeah, and he just had, and it's understandable. He wanted to take care of his kids and his family, so he kind of stepped out of it. But I did hear for Spaceballs, he said he was in for it, and then actually they asked him for like some other movies about some movie stuff. Was it Honey, I Shrunk the Kids or nothing?
There was I don't know if it was this SNL skit for like this 40th anniversary or whatever it was. Mm-hmm. He did the Canadian guys, the Northerners or whatever it was, with what's his name? Dave Thomas. There used to be a skit back in the 70s and 80s on SNL. He came back for that. So far as the only thing I've heard that he's been in. Mm-hmm. And I remember, was it last year or the year before? For no apparent reason, he was like either going home from his apartment or going to or from his apartment. I can't remember. Some dude just walked up and punched the shit out of him for no reason.
I heard that.
No fucking reason at all. And there's so many people on Twitter and everything because they had some kind of security footage like, I'm going to find that motherfucker. And you don't do that to Rick Moranis. Yeah. I was like, damn, dude. Why are you just going to come up and punch somebody, especially Rick Moranis?
Apparently he's a really good dude.
He's a great dude, apparently. Yeah.
So he was another pick of mine. The actors who should quit. Daniel Day-Lewis, dude.
Yeah.
And the reason I read that he quit, and I found out because I've always wondered where he's been, for a while, is he quit because people said he was just weird and they couldn't work with him anymore. And like they were sick of him taking 3 to 4 years to make a movie or do something because he was just so out there.
Such an actor, yeah.
Yeah, but I guess he kind of dug his own grave. Like most people don't want to wait 3 or 4 years to make a movie.
Fucking movie they could take out now. Yeah,
correct.
I heard the same thing about Ed Norton. That's another reason Ed Norton did become the Incredible Hulk after the one he did. Mm-hmm. That's why they picked Ruffalo because Norton's such a hard ass to work for.
Mm-hmm. But actually, I think Mark Ruffalo has been a better.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It made sense.
Yeah.
But, and then my last pick for this was Mara Wilson, child actress.
Mira, yeah.
Is it Mira?
Yes, Mira.
Mira, I'm sorry.
But Matilda,
Miss Doubtfire, she was in, and then she was something else too. There's another good movie she's in or something too. Yeah. But she didn't like Hollywood, and apparently she didn't.
You blame her?
Huh?
You blame her?
No, she didn't agree with a lot of stuff that happened in Hollywood, and apparently she just didn't. As she got older, she didn't like their customs and doing and stuff, and I guess she probably just got sick of the pressure, pressure and limelight of being a kid actor and getting older and doing stuff. And can you blame her? I really can't.
There's so much going on in Hollywood. All the pressures of acting or just showing up on time for schedules and being 3 or 4 movies at one time and TV shows on top of it and all the other stuff and
being here and there.
Yeah, no free time. Publicity. You know, being on like Ellen Show and stuff like that. You know, that's a lot of freaking work.
By the way, with Ellen Show, you know, she got canceled. She quit. She canceled.
She's quitting.
Show.
Yeah.
I think she's just got so much grief and bullshit.
She's got so much fucking money too. She doesn't need to.
She don't need to do it.
She hasn't needed to do it for years.
Yeah, she hasn't needed to do it for years. I mean, I guess she's like the new age Oprah or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
And people are speculating she'll come out with her own show. I think she just wants to get away from the limelight for a minute.
Because she fucked up.
I mean, she fucked up, but who doesn't? No one's perfect as a human, right? She probably has her good days and bad days, and probably being someone that's famous, you probably do get to rage out on people and do some things you shouldn't be doing. But
still, yeah.
I mean, to me, I hate to say this, I think she's a good person, but no one can be that nice all the time. Yeah. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's some fakeness to, like, her niceness. Like, everybody's got demons. Everybody's got to do stuff.
Oh, you know she goes home and starts cussing up a storm, you know?
Yeah, I mean...
Dog shit's on the floor. She's just, motherfucker, I'm fucking...
Yeah, I mean, but I don't believe she's a bad person. You can tell that she's probably a really good person, but at the end of the day, it's like, yeah, she probably does have some real issues.
She has a hate room.
Mm-hmm. Hey, buddy.
We have a special guest.
Here comes my son, Lincoln.
Lake. What's up, buddy?
Did you have fun at the park, bud?
Yeah. Did you?
Who did?
Hi.
Who's that? Is that Uncle Tim?
I got you a Christmas present.
Yeah.
Did you open it?
Yeah.
You like it?
It's so pretty.
Is it pretty?
Yeah.
You're so pretty.
What'd you get him? What did he get you?
A car.
A Kari? Okay, he didn't open it, bud. We got a present upstairs for him. All right, well, I think that's going to wrap up the old podcast here, guys.
Yeah, good show.
This is episode
2
of My Cousin's Basement. If you guys liked listening to us and want to hear some more topics or things and suggestions you want us to talk about, please give us a like, subscribe to our channel, and leave us a comment below. And hopefully we can get back to you guys with another podcast here soon.
Yeah. Awesome.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks, guys. Peace.